Where were we?
On last episode of Stagey Life, you maybe like, you told me to never go there. But I had to.
Okay, well, let's jump back in here.
All right. Sorry, I'm self-conscious about the wrinkles of the shirt.
No.
My microphone scratching up against, anyway.
All right, so let's talk a little bit more. Let's get back into the citizen artists, the professional community theater,
Yes.
you know, because we're still in a sort of, we're still trying to figure it out a bit.
Yeah.
So let's talk.
Well, I think going to theater school, right, and then graduating theater school, it's a really interesting thing, right? I think the common road is often, you know, you go to post-secondary training, or you just sort of move to the big city, and then you graduate and you wait, you audition, you find people that you want to collaborate with, you try to do work, and you hope, and you hopefully sort of work your way up, right, to, you know, being able to sustain yourself and support yourself and have a meaningful life, right?
A stagey life.
A stagey life, and I think what I've realized about Yes, right, is that coming back here every summer, right, we get to be a part of something, and within our own community. And I just think so many young people, you know, they graduate theater schools and they sort of sit in these communities and they work at a restaurant or they work somewhere and they find, and I'm not saying that it's not meaningful. Of course it could be meaningful, right?
Yeah.
I worked at a lot of restaurants and I loved it, right?
And you sort of you've done it both, you did both in a way. You've had these two parallel tracks and you're a very successful actor.
Yeah, thank you.
Wow.
But, that being said, you know, why does that need to be the common thing, right? Why is it that we feel that if we're not in that big city, even struggling, the alternative is failure, right?
Yeah.
And not everyone thinks that, but the majority of people have this thing in the back of our heads where we think, okay, if I'm not in Toronto hustling, I am not successful. If I return back to my community, it's with my head down between my knees that I failed or I didn't make it or whatever, right? Which I think is foolish. I think it's not real, or it shouldn't be real. And the idea of citizen artists is that you could return back to the place you're from and have a career as a nurse or a teacher or a chef or walking dogs, right? And still be a part of a professional theater community where you are compensated for the work and where we are adhering to all the safe working conditions, all these safe policies and practices that make it a really meaningful event across the board, right? So this concept of citizen artistry really does challenge our preconceived notions of what professional art practice is, right? Do you need to become a member of the union? You know, is that what defines being a professional artist? When the reality is that 60% of our union members make less than $10,000 a year on Canadian Actors Equity contracts, right? So you go, what actually are we protecting? What are we talking about here, right? It's sort of all a bit of a, you know, squeaky structure. Yeah. That is archaic, I think, right? And artists for all of time really have supplemented their income with different things. And I think it's a good thing. I think we should, sorry, I went boom on my chest, didn't I? Boom, but I think that's a good thing. I think, you know, bringing people in who do different things, you know, because then you arrive at rehearsal and someone's coming from the hospital and someone's coming from the grocery store and the restaurant and this place and coming from school where they had an amazing moment teaching some kid or there was a breakthrough or something, and you bring that all into the room and that's what's existing in the room. That's what's informing the work. Yeah. It's marvelous. It is really marvelous creation, right?
Yeah, it can be,
It totally can be. So I think we need to, I mean, I don't know what you think about it, but I think we have to.
Well, I mean, I'm interested to ask, I mean, do you feel when you work on something like Dervin Hansen and then you work on something here with us, artistically, do you feel fulfilled in the same way?
No, I don't. You know, being part of a piece like Dervin Hansen has been, you know, everything I've ever dreamed of in a way, right? But I think the things that were the most meaningful to me, the reason why I was so excited to be in Dervin Hansen, is because I know how much the piece means to its audience, right? Like, and getting to go on tour with it really reinforced for me my belief in what we're doing here. Because we go to these communities, and they are large cities, you know, but they're not New York, they're not LA, they're, you know, smaller regional communities across America and Canada. And there would be these young people at the stage door who would be in tears, right? Who were just, who needed the story. In such a, you know, it was so necessary for them. And a lot of these people were never going to make it to New York, right? They might not get to those cities where it's accessible. So it goes, we need this. And those are cities with, like, you know, where there could be a subscription base for a theater, right? But even in those periphery areas, we need strong work in those places to inspire young people that they know that they could stay at home and live and work and play there, right? And then it will create more jobs, and those numbers in our union numbers, which are catastrophically low, will begin to increase, right? Because we will make theater central again, right? Like it was back in ancient Greece. So I think it's a much more larger conversation, right? There's a lot of nuance to it and minutia that needs to be explored and expressed in terms of, you know, how the unions and how the associations view professional art making and what our definitions are. But I keep doing that. But I, for one, support the notion that we need to recontextualize, reestablish what those definitions are, because I think the current definitions of professional practice in this country do not actually align with the realities that artists in Canada are living in. You know. And that's the tea on that.
And that's the tea. Yeah, I think it's going to continue to be an interesting journey, though, because I think, you know, as you'll sort of admit, I mean, there are reasons for, you know, perhaps wanting to leave and wanting to seek something different.
Of course, that are valid and
and so I think it's like creating the space that people can do that, and then yet still feel like it makes sense to come back here, and there's a reason to, you know, why. You know, what's his name? Jeff Lovico. You know. There's a reason and a valid reason and a beautiful reason and an impactful reason that is not the same as why you would do a show at the Shaw.
That's right.
That you should.
It's just about not closing doors, right? Like I think so many people in the theater, right, traditionally, historically, are marginalized voices, right? LGBTQ people, BIPOC, and I think there's a sense for us that we kind of have to leave, have to escape these communities, right? Because they didn't support us, or they didn't, you know who we were, et cetera, et cetera. And we go to these large cities and we kind of live in this utopian, blissful, not utopia, not always. Again, there is varying degrees of this conversation, but you know, and then somehow, like, the work that you're doing there, a lot of the time is sort of, you know, you sort of preach to the choir, right? So often I would see a piece of theater in New York or Toronto and go, oh, I want this to be in Sudbury. I want my community to see this. Because I know that person who would hear the story and it would explode their whole world, right? In a really positive way. So that's when I'm going to tie it back to, like, we're superheroes as artists, right? We have a responsibility to bring our art to places that are going to heal the world and change things, right? And I know it feels all but it's real, right? Like, and I think for so long, people have looked at Yes and go, oh, well, you just use local artists, right? I'm like, yes, we do. Why is this a bad thing? Like, why is this not, because a lot of regional theaters sort of bring in people from those large urban centers.
Yeah.
And most of those people are from other parts of Canada, right?
Yeah.
Who are from all over. But, for example, I use this example often, but Kelsey Tyson is one of our citizen artists. Kelsey has been paid more money as an artist than 12 out of the 15 people I graduated theater school with. Mm-hmm. And Kelsey Tyson is a nurse, and a very good nurse, a very compassionate, incredible nurse, right? And also an astounding actor. Mm-hmm. And she's able to do both, right? We are creating our structure in a way that supports people like her to be able to maintain. It's not like you're living two lives. It's just creating space so that these things can coexist. Yeah. People play hockey after work, like,
do they?
I don't know, that's a random thing, but does that make sense? You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, I think it's like I think there's a lot of good intentions in sometimes in leaving, or not even good intentions, but you leave and you think, I'm going to be able to make a bigger impact somewhere else. Like the impact is just going to be so much larger, but you realize working here that the impact is just as huge as, I mean, look at Scott Denniston this season.
Yeah, I know.
Most brilliant work.
I know, wonderful performance across the board, glorious,
Scott Denniston.
And is also an incredible accountant, general manager for the company, right?
Yeah, and went to Ivy School.
Exactly.
know?
Like, that felt great this summer, being on stage with Scott and being like, I'm the artistic director, he's the general manager, and and then we're gonna go write a grant, and then we're gonna sell tickets, and then we're gonna exchange tickets, Like, it was wild. Where does it happen, you know?
Where does that happen?
I don't know. I don't really know, but here, certainly.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I don't know. So it's special. There was one other thing I wanted to say.
Yeah, take your time.
What were you saying about? Oh, yeah. It was this. It was that, like, and maybe this is a generalization, but, I really feel like, just with the experience of a lot of my friends too, that this, like, why is it that, people automatically go, oh, you're gonna be an actor. It's a tough life. It's a tough go, isn't it? Right? And you're like, oh, okay. Like, right from the beginning, anytime anyone chooses a path in the arts, it's prefaced with, you're not gonna be able to eat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why? And that is like, it's like that's one of the only things that everybody knows about the arts, right?
Yeah.
Is that it's equated to poverty almost, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be that. It does not have to be that. Artists could return back to their communities and build something, especially if you have training, right? If you have training, it's all about, to me, it's all about how do you measure success, right?
Yeah.
But what was so wonderful about doing Dear Evan Hansen for me is that I sort of realized that there's really no ceiling, right? That, I consider that opening night of Dear Evan Hansen to be one of the best nights of my life, right? Like, all my family and friends were there, but that's what was special, was that Sudbury was in the balcony, Yeah. So, I don't know, I just think, like, our tagline is, life is with people, life is with people, it's with people. And as artists, if we could be with more people, affecting more people, let us do that.
Yeah.